Hello, and welcome to Humans Were Wild. In this video, we're diving into the parts of history school never really talks about. History class teaches dates, names, and exams. But it rarely teaches the moments that would actually shock you. Because behind those timelines are events so strange, so unbelievable. They sound like fiction at first. But here's the truth. Every one of these stories really happened. They're usually skipped in school, not because they aren't important, but because they don't fit neatly into textbooks. Today, you're about to hear 10 mind-blowing history facts you probably never learned in school. Every one of these events comes from real moments in history, even if they sound incredible. Some of these will surprise you more than you expect. Some will completely change how you see the past, and a few will make history feel far more dangerous, far more human. In fact, the final fact nearly triggered a nuclear disaster. By mistake. One moment, one decision, massive consequences. So let's begin. Number 10. Cleopatra feels ancient, like she belongs in a world impossibly far away from ours. When we think of her, we imagine pyramids, deserts, and the deep past. But here's something history class rarely slows down to explain. Cleopatra lived about 2,000 years ago. By that time, the Great Pyramids were already ancient. They had stood for more than 2,500 years. During her lifetime. Let that sink in. That means Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than to the construction of the pyramids. Closer to astronauts walking on the moon than to the workers who built those massive stones. One simple comparison completely breaks our sense of time. Ancient and modern suddenly don't feel so far apart. History doesn't change, but perspective does. And sometimes, that changes everything. Number 9. Napoleon Bonaparte is remembered for many things. His military genius, his ambition, his empire. But somehow, one detail overshadows them all, that he was short. It's one of the most repeated claims in history. Almost everyone knows it, except it isn't true. For his time, Napoleon's height was completely average. So how did the myth take over? Part of it was British propaganda. Turning a rival into a punchline was powerful strategy. And part of it was confusion over different measurement systems. French inches were not the same as British inches. A small misunderstanding slowly turned into a lasting legend. Over time, the joke replaced the facts. History didn't just misremember Napoleon. It reshaped him. And that's how an insult, repeated often enough, became accepted as truth. Number 8. Ancient Rome was one of the most advanced civilizations of its time. Engineering, roads, aqueducts, public baths. But one everyday Roman habit still surprises people today. They collected urine. On purpose. Not for medicine, not for strange rituals, for laundry. Because urine contains ammonia, a powerful natural cleaning agent, Roman fullers used it to scrub and whiten clothes. And it worked. In fact, it worked so well that an entire industry formed around it. Public collection jars were placed throughout the city. People would contribute. And yes, the government even taxed it. Imagine paying taxes on urine. It sounds ridiculous, but it was practical, it was efficient, and it was completely normal in Roman society. History isn't always glamorous. Sometimes, it's surprisingly practical and strangely unforgettable. Number 7. When we hear the word ancient, we usually picture lost empires, massive stone temples, rituals, civilizations swallowed by time. But history doesn't always follow our assumptions. Oxford University began teaching students in the year 1096. That's more than 9 centuries ago. Professors were giving lectures. Students were attending classes. Books were being copied by hand. Now here's the twist. The Aztec civilization, the empire famous for its pyramids and warriors, didn't begin until nearly 300 years later. Let that settle in. A medieval university in England was already active before the Aztec Empire even existed. While one world was building libraries, another had not yet risen. It completely flips how we imagine ancient and modern. Timelines overlap in ways our minds don't naturally expect. History isn't a straight line. It's layers, and sometimes those layers collide in the most surprising ways. Number 6. Imagine a war starting over a bucket. It sounds ridiculous, almost like something from a comedy. But in the year 1325, 2 Italian city-states went to war after a wooden bucket was stolen from a well. Yes, a bucket. On the surface, it seems absurd. But this wasn't just about wood and rope. Tensions had been building for years. Political rivalries, power struggles, deep resentment between the cities. The stolen bucket became the spark. Thousands of people died in the conflict that followed. Officially, the war was about politics, but history remembers the bucket. A simple object, turned into a symbol. It's a reminder that sometimes small events ignite massive consequences. And long after the politics fade, strange detail is what survives. In this case, a bucket. Number 5. Today, the Eiffel Tower feels permanent, timeless, unshakable, a symbol of Paris itself. But that was never the plan. When it was built for the 1889 World's Fair, it was meant to be temporary. Just an entrance arch, a bold experiment in iron. The agreement was simple. After 20 years, it would be dismantled, taken apart, gone. Many Parisians didn't even like it at first. Even some called it an eyesore. So why is it still standing? Because something unexpected happened. The tower turned out to be incredibly useful for radio communication. Its height made it perfect for transmitting signals across long distances. What was supposed to be temporary suddenly became valuable, and value changed everything. A structure built to last 2 decades became one of the most recognized landmarks in the world. History has a strange habit of keeping the things that weren't meant to stay. Number 4. When you picture a Viking, what do you see? Bearded warriors, long ships cutting through icy water, and of course, horn helmets. It's one of the most iconic images in history. There's just one problem. Vikings never actually wore horned helmets in battle. Not once. Not in real combat. That dramatic look, it came centuries later. In the 1800s, costume designers added horns for opera performances and stage shows. The real Vikings wore practical helmets. Simple, functional, built for survival. But the theatrical version was more exciting. And it stuck. Over time, fantasy replaced fact. Movies repeated it. Cartoons exaggerated it. And the myth became stronger than the truth. Today, most people still imagine horned warriors charging into battle. But that image was created for entertainment, not history. It's a reminder that sometimes what feels ancient is actually modern invention. And from here on, the facts only get stranger. So get ready. Number 3. In the 9th century, something truly bizarre happened inside the church. A pope ordered the body of a dead pope to be dug up. Let that sink in. But it didn't stop there. The corpse was dressed in full papal robes and placed on trial. Imagine that scene for a moment. A lifeless body, propped up in a courtroom, facing accusations. It sounds unreal, almost theatrical. Yet this was no legend. The trial went forward. Charges were read. Arguments were made. And in the end, the corpse was found guilty. Yes, guilty. It was even sentenced. This strange episode is now known as one of the most disturbing and surreal moments in church history. Power, politics, and revenge can twist events in ways that defy logic. History is often stranger than fiction, and this is proof. If this feels unbelievable, just wait. Number 2. World War I reshaped the world in ways most people never consider. Beyond the trenches, beyond the battlefields, another transformation was happening. Doctors were facing injuries they had never seen before. Severe facial wounds, damage that left soldiers almost unrecognizable. Surgeons had to think differently. They began developing new techniques, carefully rebuilding faces layer by layer. What started as urgent wartime necessity became the foundation for modern plastic surgery. Procedures we associate today with reconstruction and restoration trace back to those operating rooms. Without those innovations, medical progress in this field might have taken decades longer. It's a powerful reminder. Even in the darkest chapters of history, human ingenuity pushes forward. Behind the conflict, behind the suffering, science quietly evolved, and many of those breakthroughs still influence surgical practice today. Number 1. During the Cold War, the world came closer to nuclear disaster than most people ever realized. One night, early warning systems suddenly reported incoming nuclear missiles. Alarms sounded, screens flashed. The data appeared undeniable. Protocol demanded retaliation, but one officer paused. Instead of immediately launching a counterstrike, he questioned the machines. He trusted his instincts over the computers, and he chose to do nothing. It wasn't ancient history. It happened in the modern era, when nuclear tensions were painfully real. That single decision, made in a matter of minutes, may have saved millions of lives. Later, it was revealed the alert had been false. A technical error, a misreading. History often remembers the wars that were fought, but sometimes it's the war that never happened that matters most. One quiet moment, one human judgment, and the world kept turning. And there you have it. 10 history facts schools rarely teach. Some were strange, some were shocking, and some completely changed how we see the past. Now I'm curious, which one surprised you the most? Or maybe you're still thinking about the fact your teachers never mentioned. History is filled with hidden stories, and today, you uncovered a few of them. But this is just the beginning. There are countless moments that sound impossible, yet are absolutely real. So stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop asking questions. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed these mind-blowing history facts, don't miss our last video. Top 10 mind-blowing facts that seem impossible. Trust me, some of those facts will seriously make you think twice about your body.